Along with her husband and another married couple, today's guest owns Australia's largest and most unconventional mountain bike store, with a turnover in excess of $10 million a year. And she's done it all from the comfort of her family home whilst offering exceptional customer service. Before we get stuck into episode 423 of the award-winning Small Business Big Marketing Show, the Marketing Gold is made possible thanks to our great mates at American Express. To find the right card for your business and to see how your business expenses can reward you by sending you off on a nice little sojourn, go ahead and Google Amex Business. Then try and wipe the smile off your face.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show, where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid. You, infinitely more importantly, are a motivated business owner, and you're ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. Big show today. Geale, one of the owners of Mountain Bikes Direct, shares how she's built Australia's biggest online store for mountain bikes, and she's done it, I've got to tell you, in the most unconventional of ways. The way we do business has changed forever, according to Jen. A motivated listener shares an influencer marketing strategy that's working for them and wins a couple of prizes in the Monster Prize Draw. And this week's Jingle of the Week is for those of you with a hard-earned thirst. Wonder what that could be. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Geale owns Mountain Bikes Direct, Australia's largest online mountain bike store, with a husband, Michael, and two other business partners, also married to each other. And it has an 8-figure annual turnover, so it's a reasonably sized business. Jen was named by Internet Retailing magazine as one of Australia's top e-commerce superstars for 2018. And in 2017 was a Telstra Business Award winner, and also was included in Smart Company's Hot 30 Under 30 Awards. I don't know whether that means Jen's hot or whether she's just really good at what she does, but you know what I mean, and I've got to not be inappropriate. If there was ever an unconventional business, then this is it. Mountain Bikes Direct has no phone number, yet offers exceptional customer service. Jen hasn't met all her staff, who work all from their homes and go mountain biking when they can and when they choose to. And the list of unconventional business approaches goes on. During our chat, we cover everything from how she built Mountain Bikes Direct to an 8-figure annual turnover with her partners, her secret to amazing customer service, how to work with your spouse, and of course, what marketing is really, really working for them. I started off by asking Jen to describe just how unconventional Mountain Bikes Direct really is.
Yeah, awesome. It's a really great question, and one that is fun to address, because a lot of the stuff that we do, we've just started to take for granted and we don't think of as unconventional. So, for example, the one that always gets people is that we don't have an office. So we have a team of 14 people now, and everybody is working remotely. Everybody's working from home, and they're in locations all across Australia. We've got Southeast Queensland covered. We've got Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne, one guy in Mount Beauty in regional Victoria. We've even got one of our longest serving employees is in Colorado in the States.
Am I right in saying that every single one of these employees is a mountain bike enthusiast, and they get to live and work, well, get to live at home, of course. They work from home and they're close to mountain biking tracks?
Yeah, and it's actually a really massive part of it. The guy I mentioned who's in Mount Beauty, he was from Canberra, and when he joined us, he was in Canberra, and he'd had a job there, and he worked for us for about 6 months, and then he said, I'm thinking of relocating. I want to move closer to the trails because, hey, with this job that I've got, I can live anywhere, so why not live near mountain bike trails? And I was stoked to hear that, to think that, he was so happy in his job to do that. But to also be able to actually enable that for people is, it's a pretty awesome feeling.
What kind of freedom then do you give these 14 people who live all over Australia, if not the world? Can they go, if this, I know the guy who owns Patagonia, that wonderful outdoor brand, he's written a book, and the title of that book is Let My People Go Surfing. And his view is like, hey, if the swell's up, go and surf. You'll be a better person.
Yeah, definitely. So we, the majority of our team are focused on customer service. So what we try to say is, you're on for these particular hours. This is your roster. This is when we expect you on, but we don't need you at all outside of that time. I don't want to hear from you. Don't check your emails. Don't check your messages. I will not call you. Go ride. Go spend time with your family. Go enjoy life. We're very, very strict on not doing overtime, because we want, 100% out of people when they're working, and we don't want to hear from them outside that. We want them to go and enjoy life.
You are brutal like that. I mean, trying to get hold of you for this interview and a previous radio interview that we did first up, here am I get a little bit frustrated by that, but I'm in absolute awe. Can you just take me? I don't have the ability to completely switch off, and I know a lot of people listening don't. Take me further inside that mindset.
Yeah, that has been very much a work in progress, and possibly hindered in the early stage by the fact that our business is run by two married couples. So, I am in business with my husband, and I've been in business with my husband for a very long time. And so in the early days of doing that, you find that you are thinking about and talking about business and work all of the time. You're at work, you're talking about work. It's over dinner, you're talking about work. You're supposed to be just relaxing or going for a ride together, and suddenly you're talking about work. And we did get to a stage where we went, no, we need really hard boundaries, because we need to have something else in common that's not work. And particularly when we had kids as well, we wanted to make sure that we weren't constantly talking and thinking work when we were supposed to be spending time with them. So we basically just said we clock on for work and we clock off, and we really try not to talk about it outside of that. So both being committed to that approach, I think, has helped us to be really kind of vigilant about it. And then we've prioritized personally making sure that, we do get out for a ride. We can't be talking about and living and breathing mountain biking all the time, but not having a chance to actually get out ourselves. That's not where we want to be. So, I know deep down that if we worked 80 hours, maybe we would grow our business that little bit faster. Maybe we would be that little bit further ahead. But we've all made a conscious decision that that's not what we want, that it's not worth it.
And Jen, just to finish that, the decision to switch off and not check emails, not do anything around work, was there anxiety around that when you first did it? But I'm hoping, over the course of days, weeks, months, you realise that things, everything's still running. The world continues to spin.
That's it. That when you step away from stuff, you realise that there's only a very small handful of things that really are mission critical. I don't know if you've tried to reach me on email, but if you had, 50% of the time you'll get my out of office. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that I'm on holidays or that I'm out of the office. Often I activate my out of office to tell people that I'm in meetings or that I've got lots happening at the moment, and I am going to take a little bit of time to get back to them. And I love that too, because then I know that they know that I'm not going to respond in the next 5 minutes. And so I've got a little bit of breathing space to just tackle the stuff that's really genuinely important, and not just be totally on the back foot all the time and responding to people when they need you to respond. So just little things like that have become part of how I work and how we work, and it's good for your mental health, definitely.
No doubt. Funnily, you're going. Basically, what you're doing is you're walking to the beat of your own drum, and you are actually doing business like business used to be done. We was having this chat with one of my sons just the other day, where there's this kind of norm which has become acceptable, that if you haven't got a return from a text or an email within 5, 10, 15 minutes, it's like, where are these people? What's going on? Why are they taking so long?
Yes, absolutely. And, people are trying to live their lives. At the end of the day, we're in business for lots of different reasons, but part of it is to have some level of control over what you do, why you do, and why you do it and when you do it.
I love it.
And if constantly just being responsive like that and reacting to what people are pushing on you, you've lost that control.
You let's keep talking about the unconventional nature of the business. 14 people working from home. I understand that you haven't met every single one of your staff members.
Yeah. So actually, we're at the point where I haven't met the majority of our staff members. Isn't that weird? And
yes. You've spoken to them all, right?
Yes, I have. Well, actually, we have 3 new people starting this week. And aside from interviewing them, I haven't spoken with them yet. But that's something that we're looking to address. So I think as we grow, on the one hand, it's kind of novel that we haven't all met each other, and we do a lot to try and foster that team environment sort of virtually as much as you can. But I think there's definitely going to be something said for getting together face-to-face, probably around some mountain bike trails.
Nice.
And so that's something that I think we'll be looking to introduce into our team dynamic.
How do you foster the team environment virtually?
Yeah, so we use a tool called Slack. So Slack is for sort of an instant messaging platform. And what you can do in Slack is you invite everybody into that space, and you have different channels where you can discuss different topics, basically. So a channel is sort of a cluster of discussion around a topic. We use it for functional discussions. So we discuss certain issues that have come up, or if the team need to ask a specific technical question of each other and have a bit of a discussion, we have it there. But we also have a couple of channels that are dedicated to, I guess, the kind of water cooler banter that we don't otherwise have. And we make sure that there is some discussion flowing there. So people are sharing funny pictures that they've seen or stories about their ride this morning, those kind of things. And, we make sure to allow a little bit of space, and we're not sort of cracking the whip saying, everybody get back to work. That camaraderie is quite important, particularly when we are all virtual.
What's your staff retention rate?
For the last couple of years, we have had nobody leave.
Wow.
Which is really great. And because we have been growing, we've been bringing on more and more staff. So, yeah, it's been really, really positive. And we do try and also check in with everybody just to see how they're going, because you're not seeing them. So there's definitely that risk that, they might be really unhappy and you don't see it. Picking up on people's electronic communication or lack thereof is not necessarily a great marker. So in that sort of spate of new people that we've just brought in, we have brought in someone in about the last month or so to focus on our people and our HR. So
an HR manager. You are getting big.
We've got a HR person. Isn't that exciting?
Where are they based? Are they local?
She is in Brisbane area, but spends a lot of time back and forth to Tasmania.
Of course she does.
She does a lot of mountain biking in Tasmania. So she's great. So yeah, she's a rider, and her role is going to be to just be checking in with the team and making sure that as we're growing, we're not sort of losing people in that mix, because we know that that's, while it's one of our massive strengths, because we can hire absolute mountain bike experts no matter where they are based, no matter where they live, no matter what time zone they're on, we can make use of that. But at the same time, that geographic spread definitely has its risks, and we want to do the right thing by the people that work for us.
Let's talk about your unconventional approach to customer service, young Jen. You have no phone number at all. If I buy a $2,000 mountain bike from Mountain Bikes Direct or whatever, I cannot ring you.
Yes. Now, and it hasn't always been that way. We did have a phone number back in the day, and we found that the sorts of inquiries that were coming through the phones were, particular types of customers with particular types of queries. A lot of the time it told us that we needed to be clearer on our website about certain information. Like, we could have saved everybody a phone call, so we addressed some of those things. We shouldn't have people ringing up to find out how to return something, or ringing up to find out how much shipping will cost. That's on us to improve our website and our communication. So we did a lot of those things. Then we also found that people were ringing up just to see if somebody answered the phone. So they
Right.
just wanted to know that we were legit. that we weren't just a sort of fake website out to take their money. So, again, we did a lot of work around our branding and positioning so that they could see that we're real people. So if you go to our website now, you'll see my face and my co-founder's face on the front page. And that's not an effort to put our faces everywhere. That's quite strategic. That's to say that, hey, we are actually real people. Here we are. The real flesh and blood people behind this business. And if you trust us with your money, if you make purchases with us, we're right here and we're real people, and you don't need to call us to find that out.
I think there's some great learnings there. I've got your homepage in front of me, and there's just, I look at this and there's just a whole lot of trust signals that make me go, no worries. You've got everything from free delivery over $99, a picture of you, a Telstra Business Award winner. You've got the one I really like, and I know a lot of businesses are using this these days. I think every business should have it on, is the live chat. Now, when I was trying to get you for the original radio interview those few months ago, you're not returning my calls, you're not returning my texts. But mind you, you had been in Japan. That's cool. I went to the "Can we help" button in the bottom left-hand corner, and I thought, okay, this is my last resort. Will someone respond? And I just said, hey, it's Tim here. I need Jen for a radio interview. And a guy came back to me within, I can tell you, less than 60 seconds at 8:45 in the morning.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So we have live chat from about 6 o'clock in the morning, now through till 11 o'clock at night, 7 days a week.
Genius.
So, which actually, it sounds massive, but, we're able to do that by just having a spread of people working at different times. Again, that having everybody working remotely. So I don't have people traipsing into an office at 6 o'clock in the morning and there till 11 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. Andrew, who's in Colorado, is just working in his afternoons, but he's providing that really early customer service, which is really great. So, people can jump on with any sort of query and they get that immediate response. And we find that for a lot of people that actually works better than phone and is more convenient. It helps us too, because with the way live chat works, we can see what page they're looking at. We can share links. We can say, I'd recommend this particular product for you, and here's the link. So the person can go straight to it rather than being on the website and say, okay, just up at the top left there, if you click on that one, So live chat for an e-commerce business like us is really powerful. The only thing I would say about it is that we implemented it years ago, and we implemented it far too early and when we didn't have the resources to do it properly. So we implemented it when, we had one or two people in the business doing absolutely everything, and they were answering the phones and they were doing the emails and all of that kind of stuff. And so we just found that live chat was constantly left off. So, the only thing I would say about implementing it is just making sure that you actually do have the resources, the human resources to sit behind it. Yeah. And if you don't, that you're using live chat in a way that it's quite clear that there is or isn't a real person there at that particular moment. So it can still be quite a useful channel as long as people know that there's not a real person here, but you will get a response in X amount of hours.
Artificial intelligence is going to change that too a lot. It already is really. I mean, it's looking at keywords in live chats and emails and responding accordingly. Are you guys looking into that?
Yeah, we have been, definitely. And I think it's something that we will integrate to a certain extent. What we're looking at, though, is how we do that in a way that's still, authentic with our brand. So, what we have positioned ourselves on is that you're talking to mountain bike experts. You're talking to real people who are passionate about mountain bikes. I think there is a space for AI to help customers get through certain questions, but we're going to need to make it really clear that they are talking to a bot. We want to be really transparent about that. Yeah. We want to give them really clear outs to talk to a real person, and we only want to be using AI where it is providing a superior experience to the customer. We don't want to be using AI just to save us a bit of money in human resourcing. We want to make sure that we're only using it where, the bot can get a quicker answer or make a change to an order or do all those sorts of things in sort of split seconds and much, much faster and a better experience for the customer.
This is Timbo Reid, and you're listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show. And the other voice you're hearing is Mountain Bikes Direct's Jen Geale. This show is made possible thanks to American Express Business Explorer Credit Card, a card that lets your business expenses reward you. I asked Amex member Chris Gray, CEO of property buying business Your Empire, how he benefits from using his Amex.
I use Amex for the whole of my business. Literally every single thing I pay in my business, even down to effectively my staff or my contractors and my rent at home, everything goes on the Amex card. Because with Amex, you get the most points for your dollar spent. And I convert those points into frequent flyer rewards points. I fly 10 or 15 times a year, only business and first class, including those beautiful A380 suites you get on Singapore Airlines where you get your own bedroom. And I fly for free. I don't pay for a single flight.
But it's not all upside, or is it?
So I've still got 1 million points because I spend so much money in my business. I've then got a pre-planned 10 trips for next year of where do I want to go. I need to find excuses to go to different countries.
This is a massive first world problem, Chris.
It is, but I'm willing to put up with it. So there's very few people that can force themselves through the pain barrier, but I'm willing to do it. I've trained myself.
New American Express card members who apply and spend $3,000 in the first 3 months from the card approval date receive a bonus 100,000 membership rewards points. You gotta love it when your business expenses reward you. Search Amex Business to find out how. New American Express card members only. Offer ends November 30, 2017. Terms and conditions apply. Ha! I always wanted to do that. One of the other trust signals you've got on your website, Jen, and I don't see it enough, Google reviews, and you've got it in the bottom right-hand corner, 4.9, 5 stars. I've clicked on it. You've got 1,371 reviews. What's your secret to encouraging people to go to the trouble?
Yeah, well, that was actually an interesting one. As far as I'm aware, you really can't incentivize people to place a Google review. So the way that those reviews work is they're the ones that are post-purchase. So we have that set up on our website, and Google's got fairly strict kind of control over that. If you buy something, once you get to the order confirmation page after checkout, little pop-up comes up from Google and says, would you opt in to receive a review request once you've received your order? So it's a purely opt-in process. And obviously a lot of customers do opt in.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks after they order, they'll get an email from Google. It's not from us, asking them to rate their experience. So, I think it's just about providing review-worthy experience.
Correct. The best marketing is a great product or service, as we continue to say. Let's get back to the unconventional nature of Mountain Bikes Direct, Jen. What else are you doing that's a bit wacko?
Oh, gosh, I think they're probably the main things. The other thing that is perhaps peculiar to our industry is not having a physical presence at all. As far as I'm aware, we're the only cycling retailer of any sort in Australia that does not have a shop front at all.
And you did have one?
We did. So we started in physical retail. And when I say us, sort of us personally, we started in physical retail. My husband, Michael, and his business partner, his mate at the time, Tim, started a physical bike store when they were in high school, looking for parts themselves and then selling them to mates. And all of a sudden they realised they had an opportunity here. So they set up a physical bike store and ran that for quite a long time. And the transition into e-commerce was about seeing a different sort of space where we wanted to be involved. So we ran those two businesses. So they were different business names, but selling very similar product, but to a slightly different demographic. And we ran those in parallel for a couple of years. But, for a number of reasons, we decided to sell the physical store and just focus on being purely online. But yeah, for whatever reason, that's peculiar in the cycling industry and peculiar in a lot of industries to have no physical touch point with customers. From our point of view, it hasn't hurt us. And there's customers who, we're serving customers who don't have access to a local bike store. So if we had a physical location in Sydney, for example, that wouldn't help 98% of our customers.
There is a little bit of a trend. There's a business down in Byron, Spell and the Gypsy Collective, which is a fashion, the one, a fashion retailer. Yep. Now, they do $20 million a year online, but they have one retail outlet outlet flagship store in Byron Bay that people from all over the world sort of travel to because it's an experience. Yeah. Big idea for Mountain Bikes Direct. Would you consider down the track creating some kind of mountain bike showroom, museum, gallery, experience concept store? You would.
I think there's opportunities to have physical contact with your customers. I think if we were to look at something like this, we would probably be reluctant to pick a specific location because in some way it'd be pretty arbitrary. I think, I've seen some brands, there are some cycling brands who've done it who do more kind of roadshow style. They get a really big truck and load it up with bikes and drive around the country and do demo days and that kind of thing. That sort of experience where you give customers the opportunity to interact with you and you give different customers the opportunity to interact with you in different locations, that probably resonates with me a little bit more. Also because of the types of products that we sell, we are predominantly a reseller. So we're not really trying to drive that hype around our designs or our particular products. It's more about a channel for people. So we'd have to focus on, I think for that to be viable for us, we'd probably need something where we are really trying to drive hype around us and what we've created.
Jen, tell us about the turning point when Mountain Bikes Direct, you've looked Michael in the eye lovingly and said, hey, we're onto something here. Can you remember what happened? What lever did you pull?
We went through a stage where that wasn't the conversations we were having. We went through a stage after about 18 months of running the business where we said, I swear this is a good idea. This is such a good idea, but I'm not seeing profit at the end of it. Something's gone awry here. Something is not matching my back of the napkin calculations. What's going wrong? And, we all sat down as a team and we got really brutal, I guess, on the business and what we were doing and in particular what we were spending money on. And we gave ourselves pretty strict ultimatum. We said that if we couldn't get the business breaking even every single month for 6 months, and then if 6 months after that we weren't meeting a certain sales over a net profit over sales target, that we would wind up the business, that we would just liquidate the stock and we'd wind it up because we'd given it an absolute red hot go and it wasn't working. So at that point in time, we cut absolutely all expenditure. We did no paid advertising. We got rid of every software platform that we couldn't say was absolutely mission critical. We just got really, really tight. We stopped sort of experimenting with different lines of stock. We narrowed the stock we were carrying. We did lots of things. And as it turns out, within that first 6 months, we'd achieved our second target. We'd achieved our 12-month target. And we've been making a profit every month since.
You just got smarter. You got more efficient. You got rid of the fat.
That's it. We just, we weren't complacent, I guess, up until that point. I think what we'd been doing up until that point was we'd been just being pulled between these two sometimes opposing goals of pursuing growth and pursuing profit. So on the one hand, we wanted a profitable business because we had no interest in building a massive empire that wasn't making money day to day. But on the other hand, we were thinking, but we need to get bigger. Our competitors are getting bigger and we need a bigger slice of that pie. If we can get a bigger customer base and make more sales, then we'll make money. It's this constant tension. And so in practice, what that means is that you go out and you implement this fancy piece of software because it's going to help you acquire new customers. But all I've done there is erode into my profit. And then I don't really have time or capacity to implement that software properly. So I've just wasted money on that software. I'm not acquiring new customers, and it's this sort of death spiral if you're not careful. And it was only because we sat down together and said, what are we doing here? This is our last chance, that all of that stuff, all of that fat just had to go, and we had to get the absolute bare bones of the model to prove to ourselves that it really, really worked and that we could repeat it month in, month out. Once we could do that, then we've been able to establish a foundation on which to profitably grow. So we had to make a mindset shift that first came building a profitable model. And until we could establish that, we didn't have permission. We didn't give ourselves permission to try and grow.
With those discussions and that time, I think it was about 3 years ago when you did look each other in the eye and go, this ain't working like the kind of back of the napkin said it would work.
Yeah.
And there must be other times in the business where you just want to scream at your business partner or business partners. One of them's your husband. The other two, I'm guessing, are quite good friends who are also married.
Yes.
How do you manage that and retain a happy household?
Absolutely. It's something I do get asked. People say, wow, do you recommend going into business with your spouse and, your best friends? And I say, absolutely not. Like, why would I? No, I can't in all good conscience recommend that, because our business relationships are amazing and they work. And as far as I know, nobody takes anything personally. How that works, I can't really tell you. I can't say why. I think there's just a lot of established trust there. One thing we do practically, though, is that we have a really clear sense of who is responsible for what. We are very straight talkers with each other. So if somebody has an idea and the rest of us think it's a bit rubbish, we'll say so. But at the end of the day, if that person is responsible for that part of the business, so, for example, if it's a marketing effort, that falls under my remit. And if I say, no, look, I'm really passionate about giving this a go, then the rest of the team, even if they think it's a terrible idea, will generally give me mandate to do it. If it succeeds, we all go, yeah, sweet, that's awesome. Didn't think it was going to succeed, but that's great. If it fails, we all go, yeah, okay, cool. Well, let's not do that again.
Okay.
And that's it. We've got a really sort of healthy relationship in that sense, where nobody holds anything over other people. We look at our mistakes. We say, yep, that was a screw up. Let's all move on. We don't have to talk about it because we've all made monumental, costly screw up, but we don't talk about them. We don't think about them. We don't dwell on them, and that makes it very big.
Do you want to just tell me one? What was one monumental error that you made?
I think it's my screw-ups have been taking on contractors, and I can't be too specific, but taking on different providers and software systems and all that kind of stuff, where I think this is going to be great. And then sort of 6 months down the track, you go, that wasn't really great. And if you were to tally up how much you've spent on that, it would be shameful how much money has been spent on that. But nobody asks. Nobody says, how much did we spend on that? We all just go, all right, well, let's cancel that contract then. We're all very present and future focused, and that helps a lot. So I've put those failures out of my mind. I don't even think anymore.
You are head of marketing at Mountain Bikes Direct. We've talked about great service, great product. You're ticking all those boxes. What is the most effective marketing beyond that you've done to attract new customers into the business?
What's interesting, just drawing from our previous conversation, the one of the most effective mechanisms we've had to date for bringing in new customers is actually one of those harebrained ideas that most of the team went, I don't think that's going to work. I think that's a really terrible idea. But okay, it's not going to cost that much money. Let's give it a go. And that was actually, we ran a travel competition. So about this time last year, I realised that there was a big mountain bike event happening in Cairns later in the year, and I thought, well, why don't we run a giveaway and, buy a couple of tickets to the event, buy some flights and a bit of accommodation, and send some people up there, and we'll use that as something that we can promote on the website, but we can promote on other external channels to try and gather some new interest in the business. And that went absolutely gangbusters.
How did you promote it?
We promoted it obviously through social media, organic social media, some paid social media. We were also able to tap into actually some sort of PR sources. So we were able to go to some of the tourism bodies, those sorts of things, where usually we wouldn't have anything that we could say to, Tropical North Queensland Tourism, would you like to promote this? But we were able to do that, and able to put it out on different forums and mountain bike media publications. And because it was quite an exciting prize for mountain bikers, it got a lot of organic traffic where people would pick it up and share it. They'd tag mates in posts and that kind of thing. And we got a really whopping return.
A return in obviously exposure, but return in what? Did you build your email list by what? 10%,
Yeah, so
50%?
that was our focus. I think we grew it by about 5%. We've always had a pretty solid list.
Yes.
But that was still a very substantial sort of in terms of absolute numbers. We had quite an increase. But what was more significant was when we kept tracking it. So when it comes to that sort of permission that we give each other to try stuff, the onus is on the person who's come up with this great idea or who's implementing it to measure it and to establish how well it works. We're very sort of focused on data like that. So we gathered all these new subscribers that then I've tagged them up in our email system, and I can also see when those new subscribers make a purchase. So we've been able to report on that, and over time, I think it was within about 6 weeks of launching the competition had paid for itself in terms of purchases from new subscribers.
Nice.
So everything on top of that has been a bonus, and we've watched those people who came to us through that competition have kept purchasing more and more, and so the return just continues on into the future, and it's been really fantastic for us.
It's the type of business that lends itself to massive amount of content creation. Do you do much?
Yeah, we do. That's something that with all these new team members we've been bringing on as well, we're freeing up our customer service team's time to be producing a lot of content. So everyone who's employed in customer service, let's say they do 5 shifts a week, at least one of those shifts is a content creation shift. So for us, content is product description. So we have tens of thousands of products, and our aim is to write our own custom description for every one of those products. So rather than just picking up whatever the manufacturer or the brand says about it, we write a customized description, and we try to add a bit of value and bring in some information that isn't always readily available. So when people come to the site, we don't want them to jump off site to try and find out information about a product. You know, the onus is on us to make sure we provide everything. We make the decision easy right there on the page. So we do that. And now we're moving more into producing more blog and video content, all with that aim of being helpful. I guess we're really trying to avoid producing too much content that's particularly salesy. We're trying to produce content that is helping people to make decisions, or just helping people, to enjoy riding and looking after their bikes.
I love that, Jen. You're talking my language. I've written a whole book on helpful marketing, and I think the concept is slowly but surely sinking in with business owners everywhere. But isn't it extraordinary how many business owners still don't get the fact that being helpful pulls people towards you? They become less price sensitive because you've developed trust by being helpful and sharing your knowledge, versus push, buy this, 20% off here, end of financial year. It's like, what part aren't they getting?
And they like you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, our customers are a mix of people, but there's definitely some of our customers who, historically they've gone into the local bike shop and they've hung out there and they've chatted to the mechanic and the sales guy there, and they've had that relationship. And now, for whatever reason, they're turning to online, whether it's, they've moved or they're looking for different parts, and they're finding us, and we want them to have, as much as possible, that similar kind of relational connection. We produced a video recently that took, about 5 minutes to film, and it's just a little tip about what to do if your brakes on your bike are squeaking and not working really well. There's something you can try. It doesn't involve buying a product from us. It actually involves using talcum powder, and it's a quick fix. And if it works, then you don't have to buy any brake pads from us. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but that piece of content has been picked up and shared tens of thousands of times and has had lots of really positive interaction from it. And I can see, tracking the videos and whatnot, that people are clicking through onto our Facebook page and that they're navigating through onto our website. So they are coming to us, but it's about establishing that we're genuine about helping them, even if it means in that moment I don't sell a product. But I'd like to think that when that person that's seen that content is looking for something, that will pop up and they'll think, oh, those guys know what they're talking about. Oh, they might have it. And that they've got some level of relationship with us. So I think it's very important. But I can understand why it's difficult, because you've got to spend a little bit of time doing it and you don't see direct return. So it can be difficult, particularly when you stretch for time and stretch for budget, to allocate resources and time to doing it, for sure.
Love it, Jen. I think it's a great story. Thanks for taking us inside a very unconventional business. And I look forward to following your unconventions into the future. And I just think well done on creating not only a fantastic business, but a fantastic lifestyle for you, your business partners and your business family.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great to have a chat, Tim.
Well, there you go, team. Mountain Bikes Direct's Jen Geale. How's that for an unconventional business? Love it. Love it when people challenge things and succeed. Hey, be sure to hang around after my top 3 attention grabbers as another motivated business owner shares a marketing idea that's working for them. Plus, this week's advertising jingle of the week is for those of you with a hard-earned thirst. You can get it podcasting. You know what I mean? Do you know what it is yet? Now, right, let's get stuck into my top 3 attention grabbers from my chat with Mountain Bikes Direct's Jen Geale, thanks to our great partners at American Express. Attention grabber number 1. I love how Jen's challenging the way business gets done. No office, staff are all over the place, not in a good way, not a bad way. No phone number, yet it all seems to work. What can you challenge? What conventions can you challenge in your business for great improvement? Attention grabber number 2. I love how Jen shares the content creation around amongst her staff. That means she gets it done. Actually, instead of, just trying to do it all herself, spread the load. And specifically, I love how she has them rewrite the product descriptions and reviews instead of just going along with what the manufacturer provides, which is often dull and boring. It's a great idea. And, when you go into a bookshop and sometimes you see those little cards hanging off the shelf where the staff have handwritten reviews, similar to that, it personalises your business. Attention grabber number 3, I love how a key criteria for introducing new ideas and systems into the Mountain Bikes Direct business is to ask the question, will this lead to a superior customer experience? If it does, tick. If it doesn't, move on. That's what grabbed my attention. If you want to share what grabbed yours, it's a little bit quiet on the commenting part of the episode show notes recently, but you can go over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/423. Let me know what you think.
Come on down. It's Timbo's Monster Prize Draw.
Yes, indeedly doodly. It's time to give away some prizes and hear from a motivated listener that has actually heard an idea on this show and implemented. If you want to be part of that, then you just got to email me, tim@timreid.com.au. That's REID. Tell me an idea you've heard on the show and that you've implemented and what impact it's had on your business. If I read it out on air, you win a prize from a past guest or two, and you go into the draw for the end of year prize, which is a hot lap with racing car legend and past guest Steve Richards, valued at $2,500. That's in a racing Porsche. Okay, today's winner is... Oh yes, I love that drum roll. Is Jasmine Pearson from jazzly.com.au, which is an online clothing store. And this is what Jasmine had to tell us. Say, Timbo, I recently started a full-time job in sales and marketing. Oh, so she's gone into the cubicle, hasn't escaped the cubicle after launching my online clothing boutique last year. I know it might sound backwards, but after graduating university and feeling the pressures of money, I have taken a step back from my business to grow and develop my skills in the real world. The real world, that's the unreal world. Small business is the real world, Jasmine. I was starting to lack confidence and motivation. I understand the learnings behind business, but not the practicality. That's a fair call. Being able to speak to customers in my new position is helping grow my confidence and drive. And if I never started this job, I wouldn't have found your amazing podcast that helps me survive the commute. Good on you. I have been listening for 4 weeks and still have hundreds of episodes to catch up on, but I have already learned so much and wanted to pass on my thanks. And a story. Since listening to your episode with Tom McLean of Sophie Spritz, not only am I dying to try Sophie Spritz, but his strategy that you don't need to spend money on publicity really stuck with me. I have since been gifting some of my items to influencers, clever, and have since seen sales of those items increase. Tick. To add to this, I'm now launching a blog including interviews with these influencers. I like that. Jasmine, I did check your blog. You haven't blogged for a few months, so make sure you keep it up. At least weekly would be a great thing. 300, 400, 500 word blog post once a week. Back to Jasmine. I am also keen to implement a few more initiatives, promotional material. I'm researching creating a basic good quality T-shirt to give away with all purchases. Wow, that's interesting. As well as planning to send out a survey to past customers, which might sound like a no-brainer, but I hate criticism, so you have motivated me to use negativity as a way to improve. Yes! Hug your haters, as past guest Jay Bayer said and wrote a book about. Don't worry about the criticism. That's where the growth is, Jasmine. All right? Trust me on that. Better that someone tells you that they're unhappy than just go and tell 10 people that they're unhappy and you never find out. Then you can do something about it. I'm still a tiny boutique in the highly competitive world of online clothing, but I love it. It's my passion and my hobby. Love that. And I want to thank you for sparking my motivation again. Thank you, Tim. Yasmin from jazzly.com.au. For going to all that trouble and for implementing, Jasmine, you have won a Sophie Spritz pack containing a picnic bag, T-shirt, mixed dozen, some discount vouchers. That's valued at $100. And you get a backlink on the Small Business Big Marketing website, which is priceless. If you want to enter the Small Business Big Marketing Monster Prize Draw, send me an email, tim@timreid.com.au. Tell me what's working for you. Righto. Are you thirsty? I hope so, because you will be after this classic advertising jingle from way back when men were men and sheep were scared.
How does it happen? You're building a shed, or moving a bed, or blowing so hard you could burst. You sure got a thirst. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. Victoria Bitter. You know how it happens. You're climbing a pole, or digging a hole, or coming so close you seem cursed. You sure got a thirst. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic, a long cold Vic. It can come at any time. You're mending a plow or lopping a bough. Matter of fact, I've got it now. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. Victoria Bitter.
I love that ad. It's an absolute classic. Certainly if you grew up in Victoria, it's a classic, but I'm pretty sure they played it nationally. Why on earth they wouldn't still be running it is beyond me. You can watch that actual TV ad over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/423. Well, that almost wraps up another episode of your favourite award-winning marketing podcast. If you're new to this show, then you'll find my entire back catalogue of interviews over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, along with a transcription of most of the interviews, which you can print out and scribble all over. I'd love to hear from you. You can hit me up over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, sign up to my social media accounts, grab a copy of my book, The Boomerang Effect. Big thanks to American Express for exclusively sponsoring this episode. Do yourself a favour, search Amex Business now to find out how your business expenses can reward you, and you can go on a little holiday if you so choose, if you get enough points up, you know what I mean? If you love the Small Business Big Marketing Show, then let another business owner know about it by grabbing their phone and downloading it for them. Do that once a week for the next year. Love you forever. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid. Thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.